Imagine the very people we trust to enforce justice, caught committing the unthinkable. Behind the secure walls of police stations, hidden cameras have captured jaw-dropping acts of betrayal and misconduct. From being intimate with inmates to outright abuse of power, these stories expose what happens when officers forget they're being recorded. Join us as we uncover cops who forgot there were cameras in the police station. Rachel Wilson. She thought no one was watching, but the cameras at HMP Addywell caught it all. Rachel Wilson's story is one you won't believe. Her short career at HMP Addywell ended abruptly when her inappropriate behavior was caught on camera. The actions of the young prison officer inside the privately operated Scottish facility sent shockwaves throughout the correctional system, serving as a harsh reminder of the consequences that come with crossing professional boundaries. Wilson had just started her job and was still in her probationary period during the spring when she became involved in a scandal that would define her career. Her relationship with inmate Kevin Hogg, who was serving a 3-year sentence for traffic offenses, shifted from purely professional to much more compromising. The incriminating evidence came in the form of a 79-second video, carefully planned and executed by Hogg himself. In the footage, we see his cell, a white-walled room where he had strategically placed a mobile phone on a shelf facing the door. His actions, including a quick sip of water, indicated that he had premeditated what would happen next. The video shows Wilson appearing at the cell door, engaging in whispered conversation with Hogg before giving in to a passionate kiss. Hogg's comment after their encounter, "That's what I wanted," would later spark intense speculation about his motivations and the power dynamics at play. The footage quickly spread throughout the prison system, reaching facilities across Scotland, including Barlinnie in Glasgow. Prison insiders revealed that Hogg's main motivation was to gain bragging rights among fellow inmates, a goal that would have devastating consequences for Wilson's career. At first, there were theories suggesting that Wilson might have been blackmailed, but these were soon dismissed. A source within the prison pointed out an important detail. If this was an unwanted approach, she could have pressed her panic button, but she didn't, confirming her willing participation in the encounter. The fallout was swift and severe. The administration at HMP Addywell took immediate action by terminating Wilson's employment. The incident also triggered a larger investigation into security protocols and staff conduct within the facility, leading to increased monitoring measures and stricter enforcement of professional boundaries. As Wilson faces the fallout of her actions, Davis's story uncovers a hidden underground system that challenges the integrity of the entire facility. Emily Davis. The walls of Riverbend Maximum Security Institution in Tennessee became the backdrop for a troubling tale of misconduct that would forever alter the trajectory of 22-year-old correctional officer Emily Davis's life. In 2019, Davis's youthful inexperience led her down a path that transformed her from law enforcer to lawbreaker. Unlike many similar cases, Davis's improper relationship with an inmate initially flew under the radar. The discovery came during a broader investigation by the Tennessee Department of Corrections into suspected contraband smuggling within the facility. What investigators uncovered was far more shocking than anticipated. The investigation revealed an underground communication network where correctional officers passed handwritten notes to inmates through cell bottoms alongside food trays. One such intercepted letter would prove Davis's undoing. Written under her middle and maiden names, Dawn Adams, the letter contained explicit details of a sexual encounter with an inmate on May 2nd, 2019. Even more startling was Davis's mention of a possible pregnancy resulting from the liaison. The case broke wide open on June 1st, 2019, when investigators questioned the involved inmate. He admitted to 2 separate sexual encounters with Davis, providing damning testimony that led to her immediate arrest. The charges were sexual contact with an inmate, a felony offense that carried serious implications for her future in law enforcement. The aftermath of Davis's arrest presents a curious gap in the judicial record. Following her release on bail, public records fall silent on her ultimate fate. The absence of sentencing information or jail time documentation leaves questions unanswered about the final consequences of her actions. As Davis's story fades into uncertainty, the Next Cop's case provides a vivid reminder that some breaches of trust are planned down to the last detail. Charlene Diane O'Banion. From blind spots to bold decisions, Charlene O'Banion's story shows how a single misstep can ripple through an entire institution. Montgomery County Jail witnessed an unsettling breach of trust when 33-year-old correctional officer Charlene Diane O'Banion orchestrated an intimate encounter with inmate Jacob Parker. The incident, captured through surveillance and phone recordings, sent shockwaves through Texas law enforcement circles. O'Banion's calculated scheme began with a strategic alert about alleged drug activities in a specific housing unit. Her report prompted the removal of contract workers and cleaners, creating an opportunity for inmates to volunteer for cleaning duties. The unit's sparse population and numerous CCTV blind spots created the perfect environment for her planned rendezvous with 28-year-old Parker. The young inmate, known for his defiant attitude toward authority, had developed an unusual rapport with O'Banion. Their relationship raised suspicions among staff members, who noticed Parker's uncharacteristic compliance when dealing with her. Their concerns proved justified when surveillance footage revealed their November 17, 2021 encounter. A recorded phone conversation between O'Banion and Parker later exposed explicit details of their liaison. "What do you mean? You probably got this weird swing hanging from the ceiling. If I had that swing, you better believe I'd leave that sucker up for you." The dialogue, filled with intimate details and suggestive banter, became damning evidence in the subsequent investigation. O'Banion initially denied any improper conduct, but faced with the recorded evidence, she admitted to engaging in sexual activities with Parker. The scandal prompted Montgomery County Jail to implement stricter monitoring protocols, like the installation of additional surveillance cameras in previously identified blind spots and enhanced staff rotation schedules. O'Banion's guilty plea to improper sexual activity with a person in custody resulted in a 100-day jail sentence. As O'Banion faced the consequences of her calculated misconduct, the story of the Next Cop exposes a shocking abuse of authority over a vulnerable minor. Caitlin Gomez. A shocking discovery at the Pinellas Regional Juvenile Detention Center unveiled a disturbing case of abuse of power and betrayal of trust. Staff members conducting routine checks uncovered 10 handwritten letters hidden within a 16-year-old inmate's bed. Letters that would spark an intense internal investigation and lead to the downfall of Sergeant Caitlin Gomez. The contents of these letters depict manipulation and inappropriate conduct. Each page detailed explicit descriptions of planned sexual encounters between Gomez and the young inmate, alongside romantic declarations and future plans. These weren't mere fantasy writings. They represented a calculated grooming attempt by someone sworn to protect vulnerable youth. Hired on January 5, 2024, Gomez's tenure as sergeant lasted mere weeks before her true actions came to light. Despite strict protocols prohibiting one-on-one interactions with juveniles, security footage revealed multiple instances of Gomez isolating herself with the teenage inmate. Her fellow officers noted these red flags, yet the depth of her misconduct remained hidden until the discovery of those damning letters. The investigation uncovered additional evidence: a photograph of Gomez found in the inmate's cell. This physical token of their illicit relationship served as another piece in the mounting case against her. When confronted by investigators, Gomez crumbled under questioning, admitting to authoring the letters and harboring inappropriate feelings for the teen. Her confession reveals that she had deliberately sought opportunities to be alone with the inmate and fantasized about building a life with him after his release. The Pellis County Sheriff's Office acted swiftly. Gomez was immediately terminated from her position and arrested on charges of solicitation of a child to engage in sexual battery by a person in familial or custodial authority. She was booked into the same system she once worked for, the Pellis County Jail. Just when it seemed the stories couldn't get more complex, the next policewoman's tangled relationships with inmates brought a shocking new dimension to these scandals. Melissa Goodwin. A complicated love triangle inside Sydney's Silverwater Metropolitan Remand Centre unfolded in ways no one could have predicted. Melissa Goodwin, a 26-year-old corrections officer, found herself entangled between two inmates, one current and one former, in a scandal that would rock the prison system. The surveillance cameras at Silverwater captured an intricate web of deception. Between December 2019 and April 2020, Goodwin allegedly performed intimate acts with inmate Corey London at least 5 times monthly in a facility storeroom. These encounters might have remained secret if not for her simultaneous relationship with Caleb Valerie, a former inmate and regional leader of the Rebels Outlaw motorcycle gang. CCTV footage revealed Goodwin and Valerie's suspicious movements throughout the facility. Their rendezvous raised red flags among prison authorities, leading to an investigation that uncovered far more than expected. The discovery of contraband, cigarettes, chewing gum, and a cell phone pointed to Goodwin's involvement in smuggling operations. A handwritten letter found in London's cell painted a vivid picture of Goodwin's emotional state. "Miss you heaps. If only you were out before Valentine's Day. I don't know if you truly understand the risks and consequences I'm taking for you. I hope I'm right this time." The case took a dark turn when London was brutally attacked in his prison cell. Prosecutors believed members of Valerie's gang orchestrated the assault to prevent London's testimony. Their tactics proved effective. When London took the witness stand, he remained silent, earning himself a contempt charge. Without London's testimony, prosecutors struggled to prove the full extent of Goodwin's misconduct. She ultimately pleaded guilty to a single count of engaging in a relationship with an inmate. Her punishment was a 12-month community corrections order and 100 hours of community service. Today, Goodwin has reinvented herself as an Instagram fitness influencer, while London remains behind bars, bearing the consequences of their shared indiscretions. While Goodwin reinvented herself after her scandal, the next cop's story adds a new layer to these breaches of trust within correctional facilities. Shania Begum. The walls of HMP Birmingham Prison held dark secrets behind their concrete facade. In January 2024, these secrets came tumbling out as 25-year-old correctional officer Shania Begum found herself on the wrong side of the law. Begum's downfall began in 2022 when she developed an inappropriate relationship with inmate Joshua Mullings. What started as friendly interactions soon spiraled into something far more serious. As Mullings' supervising officer, Begum wielded considerable influence over his daily routine, particularly his cleaning duties in the facility's storeroom. Her suspicious behavior didn't go unnoticed by her colleagues. Fellow officers observed how Begum consistently assigned Mullings to storeroom duty, an unusual pattern that raised red flags. Their mounting concerns triggered an internal investigation that would expose the true nature of their relationship. On September 22, 2022, investigators installed hidden cameras in the storeroom. The footage captured between September 22nd and 29th revealed multiple encounters between Begum and Mullings, leaving no doubt about their intimate relationship. During these rendezvous, Begum would deliberately switch off her radio, ignoring calls from other officers for hours at a time. The investigation expanded beyond the surveillance footage. A search of Begum's phone unveiled internet searches about Mullings' criminal history and personal life before his incarceration. These digital breadcrumbs painted a picture of her growing obsession with the inmate. In court, Begum's defense team attempted to portray her as a victim of circumstance, claiming she was vulnerable due to family pressure to get married. Her attorney argued that Mullings had exploited this vulnerability. The prosecution dismissed this defense as ridiculous, presenting evidence of Begum's deliberate actions in pursuing the relationship. The presiding judge delivered a scathing assessment before sentencing. "You and him repeatedly spent time together in that store cupboard to be physically intimate up to and including penetrative physical acts. You were observed engaging in consensual activity whilst on duty. The consequences were swift and severe." Begum lost her position at HMP Birmingham and received a 16-month prison sentence. Her story became another chapter in the growing list of officers whose careers ended after forgetting or choosing to ignore the watchful eyes of prison security cameras. Just as the dust began to settle on Begum's scandal, another female cop's actions at Weatherby turned heads in the justice system. Jordan Traynor. The Weatherby Young Offenders Institution, a prison for young offenders, seemed like a place where secrets were kept hidden behind its strong walls. But one of its staff members, Jordan Traynor, a married prison officer from Wakefield, West Yorkshire, managed to shake things up in the criminal justice system with her inappropriate relationships with two 17-year-old inmates. Traynor's journey into wrongdoing began with innocent flirting. What seemed harmless at first quickly turned into a series of scandalous interactions. She boldly sent sexual messages to the first inmate, fully aware that he had an illegal mobile phone. To make matters worse, she even printed explicit pictures of herself while at work and handed them directly to the young offender. As time went on, Traynor's misconduct grew larger. She started smuggling various packages into the prison, including suspected phones, not just for her main contact, but also for other inmates upon his request. Her behavior became more reckless when she began a second inappropriate relationship with another 17-year-old inmate. This second relationship crossed physical limits on 3 separate occasions. Traynor allowed inappropriate touching without any objections or reports. In order to maintain these forbidden connections, she frequently requested shift swaps to be closer to her chosen inmates. The truth came out through searches conducted in their cells, as both inmates had Traynor's personal mobile number and the first inmate still possessed 2 explicit photographs, while the second inmate had 3 mobile phones in his possession. When Traynor was suspended from work, her desperate efforts to keep in touch backfired completely. She sent messages to the second inmate saying, "I will not see you again now I've been suspended," completely unaware that his phone had been taken away. During her interview on January 25, 2020, Traynor tried to shift blame onto the first inmate by claiming he had blackmailed her. However, prosecutors dismissed this defense and pointed out that she had admitted enjoying the attention. Her defense team brought up personal struggles such as feeling rejected by her husband and recently being diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. The Leeds Crown Court showed little sympathy for these circumstances. Despite moving from Feltham Young Offenders Institution in London to Yorkshire for her husband's job, her actions deserved serious punishment. The judge sentenced her to 18 months in prison. As Traynor faced the harsh reality of her actions, the story of another cop shows how even the most respected officers can fall from grace in devastating ways. Gemma Cowperthwaite. What happens when kindness crosses professional boundaries? Cowperthwaite's story reveals the devastating consequences. The halls of the St. Clair County Sheriff's Office once echoed with the footsteps of Gemma Cowperthwaite, a correctional officer known for her professionalism and dedication. She stood out among her peers and was admired by her colleagues until everything changed in July 2014. An unexpected meeting with an inmate who had 9 felony convictions, mostly for fraud, sparked an unlikely connection that would lead to a scandal ending her career. Despite the inmate's criminal history raising concerns, Cowperthwaite found herself getting personally involved in a way that crossed professional boundaries. What started as innocent conversations turned into risky territory when Cowperthwaite agreed to share her personal contact information with the inmate. Before long, phone calls became frequent, and requests for favors increased. Cowperthwaite's judgment, clouded by what she saw as acts of kindness, led her to offer rides to work and allow the inmate to use her home facilities during lunch breaks. The situation took a dramatic turn when allegations of sexual assault surfaced. While Cowperthwaite firmly denied any sexual involvement, evidence pointed in another direction. On April 18, 2015, an internal investigation revealed disturbing details about encounters happening at Cowperthwaite's residence during the inmate's work release period. The findings from the investigation resulted in Cowperthwaite being placed on administrative leave immediately and later terminated. Criminal charges soon followed, with authorities issuing an arrest warrant on April 24th. The seriousness of her actions led to charges of second-degree criminal sexual conduct, a felony carrying severe penalties. Facing the possibility of a long prison sentence, Cowperthwaite accepted a plea deal, admitting guilt to sexual assault with intent to commit penetration. Judge Daniel Kelly sentenced her on July 6, 2015, which included 10 months in jail and 4 months suspended upon payment of fines. While serving time behind bars, Cowperthwaite maintained that she had been manipulated and called the relationship her greatest regret in life. Just when you think it couldn't get worse, the next cop's actions take professional misconduct to an entirely new level of controversy. Kawana Jenkins. Caught on camera. Jenkins' explicit misconduct wasn't just a betrayal, it was a scandal that shook the Fulton County Jail to its core. A routine search at Fulton County Jail uncovered a scandal that would shake the correctional facility to its core. During a thorough cell search designed to maintain security and order, officers found a contraband cell phone, But what they discovered on it was even more damaging. Hidden within the phone's storage was an explicit video featuring 36-year-old detention officer Kawana Jenkins. The footage showed Jenkins, dressed in her uniform, seated in one of the facility's offices, engaging in a lewd act with an inmate's finger. This brief but damning evidence prompted an immediate internal investigation that uncovered a pattern of inappropriate behavior. The inmate involved was quickly identified through distinctive tattoos visible in the recording. Further investigation revealed that Jenkins had developed an ongoing relationship with the prisoner, showering him with expensive gifts, including a pair of Cartier glasses. This blatant abuse of power and breach of professional boundaries sent shockwaves through the correctional system. Sheriff Pat Labar addressed the situation directly in a press conference. As Sheriff of Fulton County, I am committed to transparency and to holding every employee accountable to the oath they have taken to protect and serve our community. The actions of this one individual are certainly not a reflection of the men and women of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. The consequences for Jenkins were swift and severe. The administration terminated her employment immediately upon confirming the video's authenticity. Criminal charges followed, including improper sexual contact with an inmate, multiple violations of oath, and introduction of contraband into a correctional facility. As the fallout from Jenkins's actions unraveled, another correctional officer found herself embroiled in a scandal that would tarnish her promising career. Imari Waller. From trust to betrayal. Waller's shocking actions at a juvenile facility revealed a scandal no one expected. A shocking case of misconduct unfolded at the Adobe Mountain School in Phoenix, where 25-year-old correctional officer Imari Waller's career came crashing down in a scandal that rocked the Arizona Department of Juvenile Corrections. Waller's position at the juvenile facility began promisingly in January 2019. Her role involved supervising young offenders, a responsibility that demanded the highest ethical standards. The trust placed in her quickly eroded through her actions with an 18-year-old former inmate living in a residential home for juvenile offenders. The illicit relationship surfaced when a vigilant fellow corrections officer discovered explicit Snapchat messages between Waller and the young man. These messages offered a vivid picture of an inappropriate relationship that had developed over several months. The discovery triggered an immediate investigation, revealing a series of misconduct that went far beyond digital communications. A special investigator's visit to the former inmate's group home in Phoenix yielded damning confessions. The young man admitted to sexual encounters with Waller, while a parole search of his room uncovered nude photos and videos of the correctional officer stored on his cell phone. The evidence mounted as investigators examined Waller's phone, revealing multiple explicit exchanges between the pair. During questioning, Waller attempted to orchestrate a cover-up that would only deepen her legal troubles. She smuggled an Apple Watch into the interview room and, during a bathroom break, used it to contact her roommate. Her desperate message instructed the roommate to tell the former inmate to deny and delete everything. This attempt at evidence tampering added another charge to her growing list of offenses. The weight of evidence proved insurmountable. Waller's eventual confession confirmed the sexual relationship with the former inmate, violating Arizona law that explicitly prohibits such conduct between corrections employees and offenders under department supervision. Her actions resulted in multiple charges, including unlawful sexual conduct, conveying contraband in a juvenile facility, and tampering with physical evidence. Just as Waller's actions in Arizona highlighted the danger of personal relationships with inmates, Another shocking story in Ohio revealed even more troubling misconduct. Nakisha Newell. An officer's secret relationship with an inmate leads to shocking revelations at Butler County Jail. What happens next will leave you speechless. In 2017, a story of betrayal and wrongdoing unfolded as Nakisha Newell, a corrections officer known for her seemingly unwavering dedication, harbored secrets that would ultimately shatter her career and freedom. Newell had built a reputation among her colleagues as a dedicated officer, but beneath that facade lay a growing closeness with an inmate she was supposed to supervise. What started as discreet glances soon evolved into passionate encounters within the confines of the jail. Unbeknownst to them, the surveillance cameras strategically placed throughout the facility were silently recording their secret meetings, gathering undeniable evidence against the corrupt officer. As their relationship intensified, Newell found herself taking increasingly perilous actions. She began smuggling prohibited items into the jail, a cell phone and electronic cigarettes, tools that would ultimately seal her fate. These contraband items were not just mere luxuries. They posed a significant threat to security, potentially facilitating criminal activities both inside and outside the prison walls. The carefully crafted facade began to unravel when an astute corrections sergeant noticed unusual patterns in Newell's behavior. This tip-off triggered an internal investigation that would reveal the full extent of her wrongdoing. Security footage exposed multiple, unauthorized interactions between Newell and the inmate, while the discovery of contraband provided concrete proof of her violations. The investigation uncovered a disturbing pattern of sexual encounters between Newell and the inmate, each incident meticulously documented through surveillance systems she had forgotten existed. Her position of authority had shifted from being a badge of honor to becoming a weapon for exploitation, betraying the trust bestowed upon her by both the institution and society. The repercussions were swift and severe. Newell's arrest sent shockwaves through the corrections community, and she was charged with 2 counts of sexual battery and illegal conveyance of communications devices. Newell's guilty plea resulted in a 2-year prison sentence, a dramatic role reversal that placed her behind the same bars she once guarded. Just as Newell's double life unraveled, another officer across the ocean found herself drawn into a web of manipulation and betrayal at HMP Berwyn. Jennifer Gavin. Inside HMP Berwyn, a story of vulnerability, manipulation, and broken trust unfolded. Jennifer Gavin, a 27-year-old correctional officer, found herself caught in a web of deceit that would change her life forever. Fresh from a difficult breakup, Gavin's emotional state made her vulnerable to the calculated advances of Alex Coxon, a 20-year-old inmate serving time for drug offenses, robbery, and attempted robbery. Coxon, recognizing Gavin's vulnerability, sold her dreams of a fairy tale future they could share once he completed his sentence. The relationship between officer and inmate deepened through a series of calculated moves. Coxon persuaded Gavin to accept a £150 bribe in exchange for smuggling a cell phone into the prison. This device became their primary means of communication beyond her working hours. Their digital exchanges escalated as Gavin shared explicit photos through Snapchat, crossing professional boundaries she had sworn to uphold. Their illicit relationship manifested physically when Gavin kissed Coxon during her duty hours, while she maintained some restraint by avoiding further physical contact, a decision that later influenced her sentencing. The damage to her professional integrity was irreversible. The facade crumbled during a routine cell inspection. Officers discovered Coxon's hidden cell phone beneath his laptop, revealing Gavin's compromising photos. A subsequent investigation uncovered bank statements showing payments from Coxon's family members to Gavin, creating an undeniable trail of evidence. In her defense, Gavin cited the challenging circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic. She expressed sympathy for inmates denied visitors due to restrictions, coupled with the overwhelming responsibility of supervising more than 80 male inmates single-handedly. These pressures, combined with her emotional vulnerability, created a perfect storm that clouded her judgment. Despite her previously unblemished record and reputation as a competent officer, the law demanded accountability. The judge, while acknowledging Gavin's clean history and guilty plea, sentenced her to 8 months in prison. Coxon received an additional 4-month sentence to run concurrently with his existing term. Tina Gonzalez. From HMP Berwyn to Fresno County Jail, the pattern of forbidden relationships and career-destroying choices continues with Tina Gonzalez. At 26, she became a correctional officer at Fresno County Jail, California, full of ambition and determination. Her superiors praised her dedication, her colleagues admired her work ethic, and her career in law enforcement seemed destined for success. But behind this promising mask, a scandalous secret was hidden. The year 2020 marked the beginning of Gonzalez's dramatic downfall. A charming inmate caught her attention, drawing her into conversations that grew increasingly personal. Their innocent exchanges evolved into something more forbidden. The professional boundaries blurred as Gonzalez shared intimate details about her life beyond the jail walls. Their relationship crossed an unthinkable line when Gonzalez began engaging in sexual encounters within the jail premises. She threw caution to the wind, meeting the inmate in secluded corners, seemingly unbothered by the risk to her career and freedom. In a shocking display of misconduct, she even modified her uniform, cutting a hole to facilitate intimate contact. The inmate's manipulation deepened as he convinced Gonzalez to smuggle contraband into the facility. What started with harmless items like snacks and cigarettes escalated to more dangerous contraband, cell phones, and drugs. Each successful smuggling operation emboldened them further. Their illicit affair reached new heights of brazenness when Gonzalez engaged in intimate acts with the inmate in front of 11 other inmates. This reckless behavior would later become a damning piece of evidence in her case. The house of cards came tumbling down when an anonymous tipster alerted jail administration about a male inmate possessing a cell phone and engaging in sexual relations with a correctional officer. The subsequent investigation unveiled the full extent of Gonzalez's transgressions. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Gonzalez admitted to her crimes. In June 2021, justice caught up with her. The court found her guilty of sexual misconduct with an inmate, smuggling contraband, and conspiracy to distribute prohibited items within the jail. Her sentence was 2 years and 7 months behind bars. Her story adds to the growing list of correctional officers who sacrificed their careers and freedom for forbidden relationships, leaving behind shattered dreams and tarnished reputations. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.